What if I told you this gimbal can think for itself? Today, we're diving deep into the Hohem iSteady M7's most game-changing features. And by the end of this video, you're going to be able to master the AI features on the M7 that help you capture those Hollywood-style shots with this gimbal and your smartphone. So the M7 isn't just another gimbal, it's got actual AI processing built into it. This makes this gimbal very different from a gimbal that has basic object tracking. This gimbal has AI recognition, and at the end of the day, the reason this matters is this eliminates the need for a camera operator. I'm out here filming solo right now, and I'm going to demonstrate in a moment how this accomplishes that. Before I came out into the 100-degree heat, there were a few settings that I programmed on this gimbal that are really key to make sure you do before you do any filming. So at the main menu here, there's a couple things we want to check. So for the roller function, that's going to be this right here. You can set this to focus, tilt, or roll. It really doesn't matter. Focus is really only going to be if you're using the Hohem app. So usually I recommend just having this at tilt or roll. I personally like to have it on tilt. I feel like that is the best implementation of it, but that is totally up to you what you do there. And then if you want to turn on the light, that's where you turn it on, by the way. I'm going to turn it off. And then you can adjust the light temperature, the brightness, all kinds of stuff here, which is very cool. I don't get into the light in this video, but there is a light on the AI module, and it's very useful if you're in low lighting especially. Then down here, this is your mode. I generally recommend PF or PTF. Either one of those is going to get you the best results with this gimbal. I personally keep it on PTF if there's a lot of action, so that is my preferred mode. But I do have it on PF if I'm just talking to the camera and moving back and forth. So we're gonna swipe this way. And joystick, this is where it's going to adjust the joystick speed of how it adjusts your smartphone. I like the tilt at 3 and I like the pan at 5. It's good to have pan a little bit faster than the tilt. So I like to keep these at their defaults. And then this right here for the follow speed. If there's not a lot of fast action happening, I recommend having this at slow or medium. But if you're gonna be doing like a lot of running around and stuff like that, there can be a benefit to putting this at fast. But with fast, your phone itself on the gimbal is going to move more quickly and that can look somewhat jerky. So generally, I like to keep this at medium or slow. And then for the more settings here, the motor strength, you can put this to low, medium, or high. I keep this at medium. I find that works best with my iPhone 16 Pro. But if your gimbal is giving you a lot of vibrations, you may wanna try it on low and see if that works for you. And then for the calibration, I like to do the auto calibration, so I'm gonna let it go and do that right now. This is for the level, just making sure everything's level. And then there's a couple of AI settings here. You want the tilt tracking turned on. And if you don't want the gestures enabled, I'm gonna talk about those in a little bit. You can disable those, but I like to keep them enabled. So the first thing we're going to explore is we're going to do a deep dive on the select tracking and how to use it and how to get the best results. Select tracking lets you choose exactly what the gimbal should follow. So first of all, we need to do two things. We need to make sure the AI module up here is turned on. And secondly, we need to swipe right once to get into AI mode. Once we're in AI mode on the module here, we're going to see a representation of what's on the phone screen as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to aim this down and I'm going to have this track my wireless microphone case right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a box around that and it's going to be red until I push this side button to activate the tracking. The box is going to reshape itself a little bit to better accommodate the actual object. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start recording and it's going to start the recording on my smartphone. And then what I'm gonna be able to do is I would be able to move this around and the gimbal is going to track me as I move this. And some pro tips for setting this up effectively is you ideally want to have your object at least 3 to 10 feet away from the camera here. So I'm gonna stand back here and I'm going to make myself the object now. So I simply did that by giving the OK sign and I am about 4 feet back from the phone right now. And as you can see, the gimbal is tracking me as I walk along here and talk. And it does a really good job with that. And I can basically do 360 degrees here and it will keep tracking me. The 360-degree rotation is really one of the more powerful features about this gimbal. A lot of gimbals have limitations where they can't quite go all the way around. So the fact that this one can do that is very impressive. And of course, the footage you're seeing here was captured on the iPhone 16 Pro. That is the phone that I'm filming with the M7 gimbal right here. So I'm going to stop the tracking now, and the way I'm gonna do that is I'm going to triple tap on the screen here. So I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, and the AI is going to go red, and it's going to stop tracking me. And when you want to reset this to the default position, you're just gonna do a double tap, and it's going to rotate it back to the default starting position. And I'm gonna show you a couple other samples here of how this tracking works. I'm tracking my children, and I am moving along with the gimbal at the same time they are moving. So what I've done is I've selected them as a subject, and when I move along, even if I'm moving at a different pace or changing how I am relative to them, as you can see here, the tracking allows this to rotate around them and to continue following them, even if I change my alignment. So that's very cool. It can really help create some nice, smooth motions. So as far as some pro tips for optimal performance, first of all, when selecting a subject, make sure your subject has clear edges and contrast. You don't want to select an object that blends in with the landscape around it. This AI is very smart, but at the same time, if you're selecting an object that blends in, like if you're selecting a random leaf from a tree here, it's going to make it very difficult because most of these leaves look very much alike. And first, when you start your movements, another pro tip is have a movement strategy. So start with a little bit slower movements and then build to faster. The AI is going to get better and better. And as you move faster and faster, it's going to be able to keep up with you. But if you move really fast right away, it could struggle a little bit with that. And of course, do plan accordingly. If you're using tracking modes, they will consume a little bit more power, so plan accordingly. What I like to do is if I'm gonna be doing a long filming session with this gimbal, I just bring along a power bank, and that power bank, I can have it hooked in to the charging port while I'm using it, and it will charge it and keep it powered up while on the go. And a few common mistakes to avoid with this tracking mode is if you're drawing the selection box too large or too small, that could create problems. So for example, if I wanted to track my wireless mic case right here, but let's say I draw the box like this, that's going to track the table that this is sitting on, and it's not going to track the case. So when you draw it, you need to make sure it's approximately the right size because you want it to be able to find the object. So if I draw the box like this and then tap the button to start tracking, it's going to do a much better job finding the object. Versus if I draw a box this big, it's not going to track the object that we want it to. If I tap this button now to start tracking, it's going to track that whole area right there. And that's gonna quickly create some problems for us. And by the way, the other way to select an object to track, you can double tap on the object and it's going to find it. Sometimes I like this better than drawing a box. And of course you tap 3 times to clear it. I find the double tap is usually just as good as drawing a box around the object. So either method is a good choice for that tracking. And one of the other ways that you can activate the AI tracking is simply doing the OK symbol, and you can just hold it in front of your face, and this is then going to proceed to start tracking you. So you don't have to have the remote. You can be away from the camera, and it's going to track you. And this is great if you want to activate the camera without having to click on the screen, and you can speed up your movements, and it's going to keep up with you. And then to stop the tracking, all you have to do is hold up your palm, and it's going to stop tracking you. So if I move now, it's not going to follow me. So that is how you use the Hohem iSteady M7 AI tracking. If you're a smartphone creator and you're looking for a gimbal to up your production quality, you should definitely check out the iSteady M7. It's going to help you get amazing results, and the AI is going to make it really easy for you to do so.